There's a whole study on it out there. And if you don't believe me, go look. So if you're going to convince a jury that he's guilty based on that shit, you think, why the hell would you ever plead guilty? I'm going to tell you why. This makes a lot of sense to me. We had all these questions, and now I think we have some answers. Especially these things are documented where innocent people plead guilty in capital cases, in cases that hinge on forensic evidence that juries misunderstand. Okay? The guilty plea appears to have been a strategic resolution driven by sentencing risk and evidentiary uncertainty, rather than a reflection of a fully corroborated factual account. The prosecution prioritized a guaranteed life sentence over the unpredictability of trial, and the defendant prioritized certainty over vindication. This inference fits all known facts without asserting innocence or guilt. And so, just looking at it from a statistical standpoint, it's hard to say whether he's innocent or guilty based on the fact, even after he pled guilty. But here's the other thing. You ready for this? The bottom line, what this implies is not certainty, but closure by compromise. The state secured permanent incapacitation. The defendant avoided execution. The court obtained finality. The factual truth remains incomplete. That's uncomfortable, but it is how the system sometimes functions, and more than sometimes, right? But especially in capital cases built on narrow evidence. And that's what this was. It was a death penalty case, a capital case. Another reason why I'm against the death penalty. Because if I believe that if the death penalty was not on the table, that he would have gone to trial. I think he was just too afraid. And the fact, you have to remember, he studied this shit. He studied criminal forensics, criminal psychology. He's a criminologist. He knows how these cases work and how they end up. This is a plea, a sentence, a legal finality, but there's definitely a gap between legal resolution and factual clarity in this case. That's a legit thing. It's unsettling. So again, all of the guilters who are like, he's guilty, we don't need to ask any more questions, what's wrong with you people, move on. Genuinely, like, fuck off, because I'm going to keep asking questions. And the truth is, from an objective standpoint, again, I don't care if he's innocent or guilty in the sense of like, I'm not attached to him in that way. I just want to keep, my mind is not made up. And just because somebody pleads guilty certainly does not, in my mind, mean they are guilty until I look at the facts. And if you look at the facts in this case, statistically, it makes the most sense. And we should have called it. We should have called that he was going to plead guilty, because he was facing death penalty, guys. Death penalty. And let's not forget his mother. His mother, years ago, this is crazy. It's why it's almost like you could write the script, but I believe it's true. His mother, years ago, in a newspaper clipping, was mourning the death of Ted Bundy, a man accused of being a serial killer, and mourning the fact that people were cheering it. It was called Cheering the Hearse. Remember? She was devastated that people would cheer someone's death on. So imagine how she feels about the Gonsalves family, who are consistently cheering her son's demise.